Bible in a Year D21. Readings from the Holy Bible: Genesis chapter 39 and 40, Job chapter 31 and 32. Genesis chapter 39. Joseph's temptation. When Joseph was taken down to Egypt, an Egyptian Potiphar, an official of Pharaoh, and his chief steward brought him from the Ishmaelites who had brought him there. The Lord was with Joseph, and he enjoyed great success and was assigned to the household of his Egyptian master. When his master saw that the Lord was with him and brought him success in whatever he did, he favored Joseph and made him his personal attendant. He put him in charge of his household and entrusted to him all his possessions. From the moment that he put him in charge of his household and all his possessions, the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. The Lord's blessing was on everything he owned, both inside the house and out. Having left everything he owned in Joseph's charge, he gave no thought with Joseph there to anything but the food he ate. Now Joseph was well built and handsome. After a time his master's wife looked at him with longing and said, "Lie with me." But he refused and said to his master's wife, "Look, as long as I am here, my master does not give a thought to anything in the house, but has entrusted to me all he owns. He has no more authority in this house than I do. He has withheld from me nothing but you, since you are his wife. How then could I do this great wrong and sin against God?" Although she spoke to him day after day, he would not agree to lie with her or even be near her. One such day, when Joseph came into the house to do his work, and none of the household servants were then in the house, she laid hold of him by his cloak, saying, "Lie with me." But leaving the cloak in her hand, he escaped and ran outside. When she saw that he had left his cloak in her hand as he escaped outside, she cried out to her household servants and told them, "Look, my husband has brought us a Hebrew man to mock us. He came in here to lie with me, but I cried out loudly. When he heard me scream, he left his cloak beside me and escaped and ran outside." She kept the cloak with her until his master came home. Then she told him the same story. "The Hebrew slave whom you brought us came to me to amuse himself at my expense. But when I screamed, he left his cloak beside me and escaped outside." When the master heard his wife's story, in which she reported, "Thus and so your servant did to me," he became enraged. Joseph's master seized him and put him into the jail where the king's prisoners were confined, and there he sat in jail. But the Lord was with Joseph and showed him kindness by making the chief jailer well disposed toward him. The chief jailer put Joseph in charge of all the prisoners in the jail. Everything that had to be done there, he was the one to do it. The chief jailer did not have to look after anything that was in Joseph's charge, since the Lord was with him and was bringing success to whatever he was doing. Chapter 40. The dreams interpreted. Some time afterward, the royal cupbearer and baker offended their lord, the king of Egypt. Pharaoh was angry with his two officials, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, and he put them in custody in the house of the chief steward, the same jail where Joseph was confined. The chief steward assigned Joseph to them, and he became their attendant. After they had been in custody for some time, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were confined in the jail, both had dreams on the same night, each his own dream, and each dream with its own meaning. When Joseph came to them in the morning, he saw that they looked disturbed. So he asked Pharaoh's officials, who were with him in custody in his master's house, "Why do you look so troubled today?" They answered him, "We have had dreams, but there is no one to interpret them." Joseph said to them, "Do interpretations not come from God? Please tell me the dreams." Then the chief cupbearer told Joseph his dream. "In my dream," he said, "I saw a vine in front of me, and on the vine were 3 branches. It had barely budded when its blossoms came out and its clusters ripened into grapes. Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, so I took the grapes, pressed them out into his cup, and put it in Pharaoh's hand." Joseph said to him, "This is its interpretation. The 3 branches are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will single you out and restore you to your post. You will be handling Pharaoh his cup as you formerly did when you were his cupbearer. Only think of me when all is well with you, and please do me the great favor of mentioning me to Pharaoh to get me out of this place." The truth is that I was kidnapped from the land of the Hebrews, and I have not done anything here that they should not have put me into a dungeon. When the chief baker saw that Joseph had given a favorable interpretation, he said to him, I too had a dream. In it I had 3 bread baskets on my head. In the top were all kinds of bakery products for Pharaoh, but the birds were eating them out of the basket on my head. Joseph said to him in reply, This is its interpretation. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will single you out and will impale you on a stake, and the birds will be eating your flesh. And so on the 3rd day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, when he gave a banquet to all his servants, he singled out the chief cupbearer and the chief baker in the midst of his servants. He restored the chief cupbearer to his office so that he again handed the cup to Pharaoh. But the chief baker he impaled just as Joseph had told them in his interpretation. Yet the chief cupbearer did not think of Joseph, he forgot him. Job chapter 31. I made a covenant with my eyes not to gaze upon a virgin. What portion comes from God above? What heritage from the Almighty on high? Is it not calamity for the unrighteous and woe for evildoers? Does he not see my ways and number all my steps? If I have walked in falsehood and my foot has hastened to deceit, let God weigh me in the scales of justice. Thus will he know my innocence. If my steps have turned out of the way, and my heart has followed my eyes, or any stain clings to my hands, then may I sow, but another eat, and may my produce be rooted up. If my heart has been enticed toward a woman, and I have lain in wait at my neighbor's door, then may my wife grind for another, and may others kneel over her. For what would be heinous? A crime to be condemned, a fire that would consume down to Abaddon till it uprooted all my crops. Had I refused justice to my manservant or to my maidservant when they had a complaint against me? What then should I do when God rises up? What could I answer when he demands an account? Did not he who made me in the belly make him? Did not the same one fashion us in the womb? If I have denied anything that the poor desired, or allowed the eyes of the widow to languish, while I ate my portion alone, with no share in it for the fatherless, though like a father he has reared me from my youth, guiding me even from my mother's womb, if I have seen a wanderer without clothing, or a poor man without covering, whose limbs have not blessed me, when warmed with the fleece of my sheep, if I have raised my hand against the innocent, because I saw that I had supporters at the gate, then may my arm fall from the shoulder, my forearm be broken at the elbow, for I dread calamity from God, and his majesty will overpower me. Had I put my trust in gold, or called fine gold my security, or had I rejoiced that my wealth was great, or that my hand had acquired abundance, had I looked upon the light as it shone, or the moon in the splendor of its progress, and had my heart been secretly enticed to blow them a kiss with my hand, this too would be a crime for condemnation, for I should have denied God above. Had I rejoiced at the destruction of my enemy, or exulted when evil came upon him, even though I had not allowed my mouth to sin by invoking a curse against his life, had not the men of my tent exclaimed, Who has not been filled with his meat? No stranger lodged in the street, for I opened my door to wayfarers. Had I all too human hidden my sins and buried my guilt in my bosom? Because I feared the great multitude, and the scorn of the clans terrified me, then I should have remained silent and not come out of doors. Oh, that I had one to hear my case. Here is my signature. Let the Almighty answer me. Let my accuser write out his indictment. Surely I should wear it on my shoulder, or put it on me like a diadem. Of all my steps I should give him an account. Like a prince I should present myself before him. If my land has cried out against me till its furrows wept together, if I have eaten its strength without payment and grieved the hearts of its tenants, then let the thorns grow instead of wheat, and stinkweed instead of barley. The words of Job are ended. Chapter 32. Elihu's speeches. Then the 3 men ceased to answer Job, because in his own eyes he was in the right. But the anger of Elihu, son of Barachel, the Buzite of the clan of Ram, was kindled. He was angry with Job for considering himself rather than God to be in the right. He was angry also with the three friends because they had not found a good answer and had not condemned Job. But since these men were older than he, Elihu bided his time before addressing Job. When, however, Elihu saw that there was no reply in the mouths of the three men, his wrath was inflamed. So Elihu, son of Barachel the Buzite, answered and said, I am young and you are very old. Therefore I held back and was afraid to declare to you my knowledge. I thought days should speak and many years teach wisdom, but there is a spirit in human beings, the breath of the Almighty, that gives them understanding. It is not those of many days who are wise, nor the aged who understand the right. Therefore I say, listen to me, I also will declare my knowledge. Behold, I have waited for your words. I have given ear to your arguments as you searched out what to say. Yes, I followed you attentively. And look, none of you has convicted Job, not one could refute his statements. So do not say, we have met wisdom, God can vanquish him, but no mortal. For had he addressed his words to me, I would not then have answered him with your words. They are dismayed, they make no more reply, words fail them. Must I wait, now that they speak no more and have ceased to make reply? I too will speak my part, I also will declare my knowledge, for I am full of words. The spirit within me compels me, my belly is like an unopened wine, like wineskins ready to burst. Let me speak and obtain relief, let me open my lips and reply. I would not be partial to anyone, nor give flattering titles to any, for I know nothing of flattery. If I did, my Maker would soon take me away. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.